Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video, doing JMA Friday for today's first video. So as always on a Friday, having a look at the weather for the month ahead with Japanese and CFS V2. So you're going to take us pretty much to the end of November, so it's a November look ahead. To start us off, we're going to have a 10 to 14 day video update, including all our regular features. With you later on this afternoon. We've got the ECMWF 6 weeks look ahead coming up for you around 5-6ish this evening. So that's an ultra long range forecast taking us, can you believe it, to the middle of December. Wow, that's going to be a very extended range look ahead. And of course, we'll be live streaming after 10 o'clock tonight. We'll be live streaming GFS 18Z. And yeah, so our first sort of pub run Friday night live stream coming up tonight after 10 PM. Should be a little bit of fun. After 10. But kicking it all off is JMA Friday. I have been hoping to get a little video done for Halloween and Bonfire Night, but I've run out of time to be able to do that. The website, GavsWeatherVids.com, finally came up earlier on this morning. I've been busy getting everything updated on the website for the first time since Wednesday. So I'm not going to be able to get that video in for Halloween and for Bonfire Night, unfortunately. But I will get all of the other content done for today. Right, so let's start off with JMA Friday then. So we're going to begin with the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from the JMA, from the North Pole and Arctic view down. So of course this is the North Pole of the Arctic just here. This is a wider Arctic circle. We've got the mid-latitudes around there. Blue extrapolates to low pressure, yellow, orange and red to high pressure. These are broken down to week periods. The first week period takes us from today, the 30th of October to 6th of November. The coming week will have high pressure to the south and east of the country, low pressure to the north and to the northwest. Winds are going to be coming in from a westerly direction. With time, this high pressure will be taking over. So we start off unsettled, and eventually this ridge of high pressure will be developing and settling things down as we go later into next week. Week 2 takes us from the 6th to the 13th of November, and a high pressure then. Large area of high pressure dominates over and to the east of the country. Low pressure is sort of pushed northwards along the jet stream as well. So that implies a lot of dry weather, and potentially quite cold actually. The high pressure is kind of centered to our east. We'll be bringing like an easterly flow. So certainly a continental sort of feeder there could well be quite chilly with a risk of night frost. There should be quite a bit of dry weather with that as well. Weeks 3 and 4 will take us from the 13th to 27th of November. So then we have the higher pressure shifting northwards above average heights, moving into the northern latitudes. So there are hints there of northern blocking, low pressure developing out to our west and southwest. This could be one of those situations where we have quite a strong northern blocking signal, but we're still reasonably mild with low pressure just to our south and southwest pulling up like a southerly wind, but the low pressure also throwing up rain bands across the country. It could be that kind of pattern. It certainly looks more unsettled, and despite the northern blocking, the wind direction could be like from a sort of south to southwesterly type direction, although it probably wouldn't take too much of an adjustment to start to send this low pressure southwards with the jet stream. If it did, we could start to pull in some colder air from the north and from the northeast with that. Let's have a look at the tropical and mid-latitude view. So British Isles in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you are looking at it on this view. We can't see the Arctic, North Pole, Scandinavia, Greenland. Those sort of areas are off the chart with this. But nevertheless, we can show you like the mid-latitude and tropical view. So again, these breakdowns week periods. The first week period takes from the 30th of October to the 6th of November today through to 6th of November. So high pressure is to our south and southeast. Come over here, you can also see it building in from the southeast. Low pressure is up to the north. Jet stream is pushed northwards as well. What's that one a bit wonky, isn't it? Jet stream is pushed northwards. And the high pressure is basically taking over from the south and from the southeast. Temperature anomalies in the week ahead from 30th of October, 6th of November are going to be milder than average. Really very mild week coming up. Much of continental Europe, we are not as mild as that in weekend, but nevertheless slightly above average temperatures. And rather unsettled too, particularly early on in the period. So wetter than average to start us off. It will be turning drier through the course of next week. This weekend is going to be very, very wet. Week 2, which is going to be the 6th to the 13th of October, has us under high pressure then. High pressure is dominating weather over and to the east of the country, means we're probably drifting in from an easterly direction. Temperature anomalies are close to average, possibly a little bit above still, but falling certainly compared to what they are in week 1. And obviously with high pressure taking over, it's also turning drier as well, so a cooler or colder and drier week coming up there. Then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, 13th to 27th of November, with low pressure to our west and southwest, looking more unsettled. We can't see the northern blocking maps to the north, but we know we have got a lot of ridging to our north with high pressure going northwards. Temperature anomalies for weeks 3 and 4, again close to average. Notice it is a bit colder than average just out to our west, however. Might hint at a rather cold second half to November, and also looking wetter than average again. So yeah, it could be turning cold and wet there in the second half of November. Dare I say it, maybe even a little bit of wintry potential. Let's see how the CFSB2 compares. Again, these are 500 millibar heights broken down to week periods. The first week period takes from the 30th of October to 5th of November. Coming week has a high pressure to our south and southeast. Low pressure is to our north and northwest. Jet stream is doing something like that. So perfect agreement between the two models. Going to start off very unsettled. Low pressure is going to bring really wet weather this weekend, and then next week will gradually be turning drier. Week 2 is the 6th to the 12th of November, basically under high pressure then. So there's a ridge to our south and east, also to our northwest. So clearly we can see high pressure taking over. We'll be turning a lot drier, but potentially quite chilly. Maybe even pretty cold. Week 3 is going to be the 13th to the 19th of November, with high pressure in the north latitudes and away to our northeast. Low pressure is to our south and southeast. So it's more unsettled with that. We might bring in a bit of an easterly flow there. So although more unsettled, it might not necessarily be overly mild. In fact, it could be quite cold from the 13th to the 19th of November. Maybe not quite cold enough for snow, because it's November rather than January, but it could certainly be pretty, it could certainly be pretty chilly and quite grim, actually. And then another change for week 4, which is the 20th, 26th of November, as low pressure then sets up out to our west, high pressure strengthening around the Azores. That starts to bring in what would be a milder west-southwesterly flow, but also still unsettled, with low pressure driving in bands of rain from off the Atlantic Ocean. Week 1 temperature anomaly with CFSB2 from the 30th of October to 5th of November, slightly above average. Starting off very mild at the moment, of course, and temperatures will be cooling down next week. Week 2 is colder than average. This is the 6th through to the 12th of November. Quite a cold week coming up there on the temperature scale. We're like around a couple of degrees below average, I think. So quite a cold week in week 2. Also colder than average in week 3. So this could be quite a cold November setting up here. This is the 13th to the 19th of November. Again, below average temperatures in week 3. And then as the wind turns west-southwesterly in week 4, so the temperature goes milder again. This is the 20th to 26th of November, becoming milder in the 4th week. Of course, that is 4 weeks away. Rainfall anomaly surface V2 finally. So week 1 rainfall anomaly from the 30th of October to 5th of November is wetter than average. A wet week coming up, especially very wet this weekend. And then we swing into drier weather in week 2, which is the 6th to 12th of November. We go drier than average, then cold and dry in week 2. Week 3, which is the 13th to the 19th of November, has near normal rainfall, precipitation, I suppose. And then week 4, which is the 20th, 26th of November, is significantly wetter than average. That looks very, very wet, actually, because by the 4th week, confidence on these charts for precipitation usually falling away. So to have such a strong signal for week 4 for rainfall would suggest a very, very wet week is possible. There. Right, okay, so that's JMA Friday done. Remember, it's just a snapshot of what Moz is showing. Could all look very different next week. But I think the main takeaway is probably quite a cold November coming up. Certainly the middle 2 weeks of November looking pretty cold. And then maybe back to something a little bit milder later on in the month, because that is a very, very long way off. At some point there may be, you know, a little bit of wintry potential in there as well, with below average temperatures in November. Can't rule out a chance of a little bit of snow, but it does depend how far below average you go and whether all the stars align really in November, because it's quite tricky to get snow in November, but it is not impossible. Several Novembers have had snow, so particularly by like the middle and second half of the month, maybe there will be the chance of a little bit of snow. We shall see. Time will tell. Right, we're going to be back later on with a 14-day video update, and that will include all of regular features. And then we're going to have the ECMWS 6 weeks look ahead for you around 5-ish. We're seeing it between 5 and 6 o'clock, I would have thought. They were live streaming after 10 o'clock. For JMA Friday, that's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.